I am from Turkey,
Uh-huh.
and I came to United States in 2008, and I lived in Turkey for 25 years before I came here, and it's been almost 8 years that I've been living in the US. Yes. Yeah, the best thing for 8 years that I believe is to see the different cultures, different people from different backgrounds, different ethnicities. And after having witnessed, this diversity, I think I am feeling that all of these people are coming from the same root. I think that was the best feeling that I've had, during the time that I've been in the US. Yeah, I'm an assistant professor in business analytics here at Beacon School of Business. And prior to joining the Beacon team, I was a PhD student at Auburn University, Alabama, in Industrial and Systems Engineering. Honestly, like moral values and hospitality types of things are very similar. I think it has been very similar for a long time. And nowadays, especially with the effect of social media, I think we all are witnessing this cultural globalization. So cultural values are, I think, becoming more and more similar every day. But there are a couple certain things that I think that's worth to mention about. The first thing, for example, you can say in the family life. In the United States, when a person hits to the age of 18, he or she, they have more stress on their shoulders, like financial, responsibilities. Some of them have to pay their college, tuitions. They have to get loans, and they have to buy cars maybe for themselves. And depending on the family type, they might have to live in a different place, a different apartment. So life is bringing more stress to those 18-year-old, people in the United States. Whereas in Turkey, it's not the case. They don't have too much stress on their shoulders in this regard. They still are getting pocket values from their, mom and dad, and they still, if they don't want, they still can live with their parents until, even like 25, 30s. I've got friends who are living with their own parents who are not married yet. So it's not too much financial stress, in this regard. And maybe second thing, it might be because of physical and environmental structure. In Turkey, we do live in like apartments and very crowded communities, big cities, and we use a lot of mass transportation. So in your daily life, you are kind of like, you kind of have to be with the people. There is no way. Whereas in the United States, people living, especially the families, not the college kids, but families living in quiet, neighborhoods where they don't have to interact too much with each other, and then they have their own cars, which they have to use, whereas in Turkey you don't have to, even though a lot of people have cars, because of this traffic, they don't want to use them except the weekends. I think this physical and environmental structure is bringing more individualism to the US people in this aspect. That is, I can say this. Another cultural maybe difference, food. Hospitality, as I said, is very, very similar, but we, Turkish people, when you have, guests, and if you're the host, they kind of insist on eating. I mean, they say, for the mom of the house, they say, okay, you haven't eaten much, you should try this, you should try that. She kind of insists a lot to the guests, so that's what the kind of like classical culture. And what else could be tea, for example. I mean, coffee is the main thing in the US, and tea is the main thing in Turkey. I know a lot of people who are drinking more tea than they do water in their daily life. So that is, a couple of things here and there that I can count as a difference, cultural difference. Yeah, there are some of them which I have witnessed during this 8 years. When you say Turkey, it might sound like it is a country from Middle East, so it's very possible to see camels and not many cars, and then like an unmodern life that may sound to be like that, but the reality is Turkey is, I mean, you can see a lot of modern manufacturing factories and big, very modern cities, and part of it is in Europe continent and part of it is in Asia. And Turkey has a lot of higher educational institutions. At the same time, historically historically it's a very, very, very rich culture as well. Thousands of years of history that you can visit. A lot of good beaches that people go and swim and have fun. So and in your daily life, the good thing, which is also very similar to the US, Turkey is a modern country. So it's not ruled by the Islamic rules. So even in one single family, you may see people who are living in an Islamic way. I mean, ladies who cover the hijabs, which is the covers. At the same time, in the same family, you could see a sister, the other sister, wearing a very modern, like Western type of style, and nobody at this point, in this regard, nobody bothers each other. So it's already a digested case for hundreds of years. So in this regard, it's a very diverse type of thing. I am Muslim, and it is really important for my daily life. Yeah. In one word, yes, it is important. I do care. Yeah, I try to live, with the aspect of Islam, and I try to handle life that way. Yeah, that's who I am. It is important, yes. But one thing I feel I'm proud of myself is that after coming to the United States, I have seen many types of people and from different backgrounds. I went to the engineering graduate school. I've had friends from India, west, east, south part of India. Friends from Africa, and then friends from Asia, China, Korea, and then friends from Iran, and friends from US. So having lived for 8 years in the United States with such people gave me the feeling of we all have very common moral values, and I also felt that we were coming from the same root. That I think enlightened my ideology, and I think now I am really able to tolerate the others in my own environment. I believe I'm capable of that. I became capable of that. I think that's one thing I'm proud of myself. I can tolerate any different thing in my life.
Sure.
So
definitely.
So it became more diverse. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Not one stereotype of guy who lived in his own country, for 25 years. It's not the case, but you kind of are becoming a global person. That's I can put it that way. And this is something that I really am proud of myself. My name is Ali and I'm changing the chat. Merhabalar, benim adım Ali ve ön yargıları değiştiriyorum.